The 18 drivers on the starting grid at Hockenheim have been selected by a worldwide talent search run by W Series and their panel of expert judges.
I'm looking for absolute commitment and dedication.
What we will find out over the coming days is those who think they've got the commitment and those who truly have the commitment.
Selection began at Melk, Austria, when the top 60 drivers were put through various challenges. These included car control, roll car skills, fitness and speed.
This is hard. This is my life and my career and my desire and everything that I have been working for my entire life.
It came to an end in Austria with a race of champions where the drivers were pitted against each other to test their racing talent.
Woo! 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 That was intense.
Japan's Miki Koyama came out on top. From Melk, 28 drivers made it to the final selection event in Almeria, Spain, a shootout in the desert. This was the first time the competitors had raced in the W Series Formula 3 car. With all machines having identical specifications, it gave drivers an opportunity to showcase what they could really do.
We've heard there's been like a pit exit accident.
While also exposing some weaknesses.
I'm sorry.
After 2 days, a number of the drivers shone through and racing director Dave Ryan made a shock decision.
I'm comfortable that 12 of you are going to go through.
And with that, 12 drivers automatically made it through to race in W Series. That left 14 for the remaining 6 W Series starting spots.
You have now got to go out and track and do your bit, okay?
Yeah, I'm freaking out slightly.
After a tense final day, the last 6 drivers were finally revealed.
So the first driver to successfully go through, Gozia Radetz, Hasman Pepper, Esme Hockey, Jessica Hawkins, Naomi Schiff. The 6th and final driver who will successfully be going through is Shea Holbrook.
There's the 2 best days of my life were marrying my husband and making the W Series in the inaugural season.
I called my mom. She was behind the steering wheel, so she stopped and she was hugging the phone, saying that she would be here with me.
It's really nice to finally get this opportunity and this chance.
Bring on Hockenheim. Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Hello and welcome to the penultimate round of the W Series Esports League, and tonight we are heading to the Colossus, the green hell, the Nordschleifer. It has been a while since single-seaters have been round this track in real life, but our W Series drivers are doing it very much from the safety of their own sims. Alongside me tonight, as always, Luke Crane and Billy Munger. Billy, there are racetracks and then there are racetracks, and this is one of those. It is the ultimate test.
It really is. It's such a long circuit. It's got a mixture of pretty much every corner you could possibly imagine. We've got banked corners, we've got fast flowing sections of the circuit, and there's walls and barriers either side of you the whole time. You're in the trees. It's an absolute fear fest really for these drivers. It is such a sort of such a difficult and crazy lap and a track to get right, and it's going to be a real challenge for them.
Look, how does this work when we have a reasonably limited amount of time in W Series for qualifying and certainly for the first 2 races? Because if you add on an extra, whatever it might be, 7 minutes, this could be a long night.
Yeah, well, fortunately for us, we've actually closed it down a little bit here. So they've got 1 outlap and then they've got like a 1-shot qualifying. So there's so many different factors here that are going to make it a little bit more exciting from the offset here. Again, 1-shot qualifying. The races are only going to be a couple of laps. And today, really, I think it's going to be fortune favours the brave.
Yeah, absolutely. And bravery is exactly what you need on a track like this. Last week, if we think back to that round, we had 3 different winners. In fact, the top 3 in the standings all won a race each, but Weitz-Gewissler still has a 57-point lead over her nearest rival, Marta Garcia. Arina Sudakova is in a solid 3rd place with Nerea Martin 4th. Pepper and Wood have been so close all of this competition, and then a big gap back to those drivers all sitting around the mid-100s, and a few drivers will be keen still to try and reach that 100-point mark. Billy, 6 races left in this Esports League. Is that 57-point difference really possible to close? How does Marta Garcia go about doing that without just trying to harpoon Bajtska, which of course is not very sporting at all and should not happen?
No, I'm sure we won't see something like that from Marta Garcia. We've seen how fair and close these two have raced all year. But like Luke said earlier, fortune favours a brave around a circuit like this. And I think Marta Garcia, she needs to pick up a serious points haul today. And also alongside that, I think Visser needs to have some misfortune, whether that's contact, a mistake on her end. We haven't seen a lot of them. So it's going to be really tricky to close such a deficit. But we've seen Marta Garcia's had good form over the last few rounds, and she needs to really deliver tonight.
Yeah, she is such a talented racer. We've got 3 other racing drivers on the grid tonight, Luke. Our drivers, the 2 guest drivers from a couple of rounds ago, Jilkova and Gresham, are back. But we also have a new addition in Charlie Martin as well.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic to see them get another opportunity. They've really thrown them into the deep end, though, considering it's Nordschleifer. But Charlie Martin actually favours this as her favourite track she's ever raced in sim racing. Her first ever podium in sim racing on GT Sport was around the Nordschleifer. So they've all got a little bit of experience around here. And so, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they do today.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, those 3 drivers will not be eligible to score points, as was the case the last time. The points here do go down to 15th position in this series. We have 3 races for your entertainment tonight. Race 2 is a reverse grade from how race 1 finished. But at the start of this series, it looked like it was Ira Sidorkova who was the nearest rival to Bajtska. Recently, though, she's dropped down to 3rd place in the championship. Well, Arina, it was great to see you back winning again last week, because you had been sitting 2nd in the championship for so long, but Marta Garcia has been pushing you hard. But get that win again last week must have felt good.
Thank you. Yes, I know that now I'm 3rd, but we was ready for that because now I have Russian Touring Championship and I can't do anything because I haven't got time to practice. 3rd place is okay for me now.
Yeah, it has been busy. I know you've been back on the track, as you say, and it just means that you can't practice so much and the focus changes. But tonight we are at the Nordschleifer, which is a really difficult racetrack anyway. Have you had any time to practice for this one?
I had only 2 hours. It is tomorrow because I had a flight tomorrow to yesterday to a different city. So of course I haven't got any time to practice. I don't know the track, so that's true. I don't know the track. I will do my best now, but I don't know which result I will have.
Well, it is a wonderful roller coaster. So best of luck tonight, Ira.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, though, let's hear from another one of your rivals. It's Nerea Martin.
Nerea Marti there make an unbelievable move. Marti coming through the pack nicely.
Soy Nerea Martín, tengo 18 años y vengo de Valencia, España. Empecé cuando tenía 9 años en el karting de mi padre y mi tío y pues fui mejorando y progresando hasta que en 2017 Praga España Motorsport me fichó como piloto oficial y estoy corriendo con ellos hasta el año pasado.
Marti is going to be a huge danger in this race for sure.
El año pasado pues estuve haciendo Fórmula 4 española con Fórmula Campeones y el año pasado a finales pues hicimos unas pruebas para entrar en la W Series. El año pasado cuando fue el test de selección vi a Marta García, que es una piloto española que está ahora en el proyecto, y nada, ya lo conocí y luego pues mi manager de Marco Rodríguez se puso en contacto con ellos. La W Series para mí es una oportunidad increíble porque voy a poder pues conocer circuitos, pilotos y un coche nuevo que hasta ahora no conocía.
Beautiful bit of work there then from Nerea Martin.
Y esto pues la verdad es que van a poder pues verme, me va a poder dar a conocer por todo el mundo, entonces esto es buenísimo para mí, para mi carrera deportiva, así que estoy súper contenta de poder estar aquí y poder estar luchando.
Well, I'm hugely excited to see how this track translates tonight. Let's join for qualifying for race 1, Luke Crane and Billy Munger.
Thank you, Lee. Round 9 then of the W Series Esports League brings us to, well, the epitome of historic racetracks. Built in 1927, opened in, 1925, but opened in 1927. It is the Nordschleifer. They don't have open wheel cars here anymore, but today the W Series embarks on this very crazy journey for me, but it should be very, very interesting. I'm Luke Crane, and I'm joined once again by Billy Munger.
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thanks. How are you?
Ready for some action. I think we'll see it here today.
Yeah, it's good. If there's going to be action, it's definitely going to be here. It's one of those circuits where you can't abuse anywhere on this circuit, whether it be right in the middle of the circuit or indeed on the edges of the circuit. The curbs will bite you, the grass will bite you, there's bumps all over the place. Like, it's one of those circuits that you just can't really learn 100%. You know, you can nail laps at, say, Donington, you can nail laps at Watkins Glen we've been to, Brands Hatch, they're all small circuits, but here, you always find something new every time you go around the circuit.
Yeah, definitely. I know I've spent some time on a sim trying to learn this place because I've never driven it in real life, just to kind of get a feel for it. And I think over the course of sort of a 2-hour session that I put in on the sim, I'd still every single lap, even when I thought I knew what was coming up next, you find a new bump. And like you say, Luke, you're always learning around a circuit like this. It's so long.
Yeah, it's the braking zones that are the worst because that's where the bumps are, especially downhill ones. You can't really see them. I just did a 24-hour race a couple of months ago around here with my team, and yeah, it was interesting to say the very least. I had to drive in the night as well, where it's not like the GP variant where there's lights all over the place. You just cannot see anything. You've just got to indeed be aware of the surroundings. You've got to hope that your lights work, but luckily these drivers don't have to be too worried about that. Anyway, we're in qualifying as it stands. 4 minutes, 30 seconds to go here for our first qualifying session. And I did say that they had a 1-lap shootout. Well, in actual fact, they start a little bit before the start-finish line, so these drivers will get 2 laps. We're on board with Bicycle Vista. As you can see, she has posted a 6:45.084, 2 seconds clear then of her title rival Marta Garcia. And with Billy, you said, oh, that's quite a big margin, but really for around here, it's one of those. It's not the hugest of margins, but again, there's a lot to work with here for Marta Garcia.
Yeah, I mean, instantly you see when you're seeing seconds as the gap between drivers, you think, oh my God, like, what's going on here? It just doesn't feel normal. We normally talk in tenths of seconds, but when you actually look at the length of the lap time, it's 6 minutes, 45 seconds. That's most circuits, it's probably 5-6 times as much. So in realistic terms, you're talking, that's probably about 3 or 4 tenth margin at a normal track there between the front two, which is a fairly usual gap to see. So I think it just caught me by surprise, really. This is the first time that we've seen a track so long in the W Series League so far.
As we come through the carousel then, the banked corner here, a very unique corner. That's going to catch a few drivers out today, that's for sure. There's no chance of going side by side through there, Billy. That's a certainty today. I never know. We've seen some crazy stuff, of course, at Suzuka. Maybe we'll see that here today at the Nordschleifer. But we've got 3 minutes left here of qualification, so they will just about get 2 lap times in here. It's going to be very, very close indeed here. But again, it is Visser on pole position as it stands. And only 7 drivers have currently got a lap time in. And just goes to show what sort of challenge this is going to be today.
Yeah, it's going to be a massive challenge. This track is so long. It's so hard to learn. Like you say, you're learning it all the time. It's got so many different types of corners. The runoffs, the curbs change throughout the lap as well. We saw it at the carousel there, how they have to dive down to the inside and use the banking to help you through. This track is just, there's no way that you can ever really master it. You're always learning something new, always picking something up. And this is the perfect test to see how complete you are as a driver.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. We're on board now with Caitlin Wood. Yet to get a lap time in, though. So, again, with just getting a lap time in here is going to be absolutely vital. We'll put you up maybe higher. We can see a couple of the drivers that are normally qualifying sort of P18 through to P15, maybe getting the top 10 today because of drivers not able to get a clean lap time in. Again, if they get 1x, that means running off the circuit, they will indeed lose that lap. So, you know, it's a long way back to the pits here once you lose a lap. You know, you've only got 2 opportunities realistically. I think the reverse grid's going to be very interesting as well in terms of the second race. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what to expect here today, Billy, to be honest, completely honest with you. I've heard some horror stories from practice this week, but yeah, I don't know, it's just going to be a really interesting one.
Yeah, I'm quite intrigued to see how everyone negotiates the gear ratios. Obviously, there's some really long straights where in a single-seater car you're geared for obviously shorter straights and to be quick in the corners. So I think there's going to be some room for them to play around with that and see, maybe you might see some of the drivers go for the first couple of sectors where it's a bit more tight, narrow, and they can gain the advantage there. And then as they get to the second half of the lap where they really open it up, you may see that sort of the ratio stuff and any setup stuff that they choose to go on a different direction. You may see towing become slightly different between them at the front to the rear of the grid. Obviously, it's going to be the first lap in particular where they're running sort of bumper to bumper. Obviously, they don't have bumpers in single seaters, but wing to wing. It's going to be hard to see how they negotiate that without any contact at all.
Yeah, for sure. I think the two people to watch out for, of course, Bajtska Visser. She's just had an endurance race around here, actually, 6 hours of the Nordschleifer. So she's going to be pretty damn confident around this circuit. And Jill Kova's just come back from the Nordschleifer real racing. So, yeah, they've both got a little bit of experience over the last couple of weeks, which is cool to see. Visser, by the way, has gone even faster than a 6:44.359. Marta Garcia then 2.7 seconds adrift. And well, we're watching Caitlin Wood here. Is she finally going to get a time? Looks like Neria Marti has popped it onto P3 here and displaced Jill Kova by a position. Caitlin Wood then across the line. And will she finally get a lap time? And look pretty clean to me. And well, there you go. Up to P3 then for Caitlin Wood. And it's the usual 3 in qualifying here today in P1, P2 and P3. Neria Marti is in 4th. Jill Kova in 5th. But it is indeed Queen Bee once again who will take pole position. Here we are then, ladies and gentlemen. It's race 1 of round number 9 of the W Series Esports League, and it's Bajtska Visser on pole position then. Oh, wow, it's a great start there, and actually you can see there Marta Garcia trying to make the move early, not quite close enough, but the front 3 have got away pretty damn nicely here. Actually, Marti then is in P4, Jilkova P5, Pepper P6, but already then stretching her legs, it is Bajtska Visser leading the way. Again, one of those tough circuits here, Billy, where just having maybe a couple of seconds advantage is going to be absolutely vital. You do not want to be looking in your mirrors here, that's for sure.
Yeah, you need to open that gap up and really take the pressure off your shoulders to not worry about defending and your positioning on track when it comes to that, and just focus on hitting your apexes and braking points, because you really get into a routine when you're in the practice. Obviously, these girls have done qualifying now, where they just used to putting the car where they want to, and now it's a completely different kettle of fish when it comes to having to drive in a different manner on different lines to defend your position.
Ironically, we're at the toughest circuit of the calendar, and it's been the cleanest of starts. Everybody seems to have got through turn 1 pretty well there, although it looks like maybe Tomaselli and Piria not so much, but everyone is still in pretty close proximity to each other. Visser still leading, 0.8 of a second is the lead, then Caitlin Wood a further second behind Marta Garcia, so it's very close then between the front 4. We're on board then with Neria Marti as they come through this right-hander hairpin, one of about 6,004,000 of them along this circuit here, underneath that Yokohama bridge. And well, as we can come down here up the hill, we come up towards the very, very slow chicane. So again, they've been through the very fast first sector, and now it's where it's all going to check up here. And Visser, again, just got a nice enough lead here. These 3 are very close. They're battling for second position. So we go up then towards the right hand. I don't want to be using any of the curbs here. You've got to get the car out nice and wide here to the right-hand side to open up this left-hander. And again, it's getting on power as early as possible. Try not to use the curbs on the exit. But this is a very tricky corner here as they come down in towards what is a potential flat-out left-hander, but the rear will step out if you do not hit the apex perfectly. But as it stands then, it is indeed Visser that leads. Marta Garcia in 2nd, Wood is in 3rd. And you can see that they've all negotiated that corner very, very well indeed. It's a tough one because once you've got the car settled, you're pretty much on the brakes. So if you don't get the car settled early enough, you're in trouble here. Come down in towards yet another right-hander here. You can see that Neria Marti is keeping close proximity to everybody. And Visser, who got a fantastic start here, Billy, she's not really been able to extend that lead.
Yeah, no, it seems to be sitting about just around a second at the minute, which is still a fair margin, and it means that she would have broken the tow range to Marta Garcia. But Marta Garcia, we know what she's like on the first few laps. She normally comes into her own, and I'm sure she'll be trying her best to sort of get that gap back down and really try and put some pressure on Visser in these early stages of the race.
Yeah, Jilkova now closing in as well. So it looks like Neria Marti is being held up a touch here by Wood. And, well, all of a sudden, Jilkova, again, with a lot of experience in this circuit over the last couple of weeks, is looking to pounce at this stage of the race. Again, very early days. Only 2 laps of this race, but it is around about 700 miles long, so they've got plenty of time to indeed get the moves done if they need to. These three then battling for that third position, as Marta Garcia has actually extended out a little bit here as well. Again, you do not want to be looking in your mirrors, of course, with this car or with this circuit. You want to be looking forward, making sure that you're fully concentrated on what you can achieve yourself. But as it stands then, Visser and Marta Garcia have done a little bit of work here. They're off. Here, Neria Marti, they're trying to find a gap here on wood. Flat out section of the circuit here before we come up the hill. And they've got this very quick right-hander, but again, you can easily make a mistake here as they do indeed go too wide. And wow, can Marti potentially get the move done? Wood's going to hold her line. In behind then is Jilkova as well. And wow, look at that little squeeze there by Neria Marti. Just about gets the move done there. And now you can see that Jilkova is all of a sudden involved as well. She's got the slipstream then of Marti. Wow, looked like a little bit of contact there, but maybe that was more netcode than anything else, because there was a gap between the two cars, that's for sure, as they come up then towards the carousel for the first time. And well, we said there wasn't going to be any side-by-side action. We were proved wrong very quickly there, Billy.
Yeah, we were. You can see on a section of the circuit like that, that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the ratios and stuff like that. Single-seaters aren't designed for these long straights that you have at a circuit like this, because the amount of downforce they've got, some of these corners that are still corners to the eye are flat out in a single-seater car. So you really are getting up to the top range of the revs in top gear. So I think that's the reason it encourages the towing, especially at the high sort of end of the long end of the straights and stuff like that. You're going to have side-by-side action coming there. It's just about hanging on in the sections like this, where you obviously your view of the apex is slightly obscured because of the driver in front of you. You've really got to focus and look through the corner and ahead to really just pick your points out perfectly. You can see here on this camera angle, they're going behind the trees again. That is just the nature of this circuit. There are trees everywhere.
Yeah, there absolutely are. We're nearing the end of lap number 1 here. It's actually absolutely flown by, to be completely honest with you. Still a little way to go, though. Probably a little bit longer than a normal GP circuit to go here at the Nordschleifer, but it still feels like we're coming closer to the end. And how I recognise that we're coming closer to the end of the circuit? Well, there's less trees, and then you start to see red and white barriers all over the place on this circuit. But again, you can see here that Caitlin Wood, since being overtaken by Neria Marti, has indeed lost a bit of time here, although Neria Marti's not been able to extend it by any more than just over a second here. But it took her time, and you've got to trust your drivers around. So Caitlin Wood there and Neria Marti, you've got to take a little bit of a bow, because the respect levels from them two to go side by side at such a circuit like this is just huge from them both.
Yeah, there was no rush to get the move done and sort of over eager and make a mistake and have contact. It was all very calculated. She was kind of judging from sort of running alongside her how much room she was going to leave. That was some really good racing, and it's a shame at the minute that Visser looks like she's extending that gap a bit too much for Marta Garcia. She's up to 2.6 seconds now, so that's sort of the advantage she had over a quali lap, so roughly about that margin. So yeah, Marta Garcia there just looks like Visser's in a league of her own at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's around about the same sort of gap she had in qualifying, so her form is staying true throughout this series so far this week. But again, still 1 lap to go, and you're not only battling, it's like Bathurst effectively, but again, for 20 kilometers. It's not like Bathurst is what, 1.5 kilometers a mountain section, and then you're okay, you're safe. But here, you're not safe anywhere. You can see the Tasman Pepper making a move for potential P5 here. Jilkova, of course, had that mistake early on in lap number 1. They go through here side by side then as they come through to the final couple of corners here on the Nordschleifer. I never thought I'd be saying that for an open wheel series, I'm not going to lie. But again, there you go. Tasman Pepper goes through then. Jilkova maybe using her head a little bit there and thinking, yeah, it's not worth battling too much through this section. Let's try and maybe work together and try and catch up to the drivers in front. But again, it's not always about the driver's ability at the end of the day. If they make a mistake, then you just got to keep yourself involved. These two battling for P5 right now, they'll be hoping that the drivers in front don't have such a successful second lap. Anything can happen. We were talking about the bumps into braking zones. Another lap here where they're going to learn even more about the circuit, maybe find something that doesn't suit their driving style once again. And while mistakes do happen,
yeah, we see mistakes all the time at a circuit like this. You're bound to get them. And with it not being sort of the circuit that allows you a lot of runoff and stuff like that, it's narrow. If you make a mistake, it will punish you. So in a situation like this, where obviously they've spent the first lap now getting the tyres up to temperature, they're probably trying to second guess themselves how much they can push. Obviously, it's a lot longer of a lap, so you would have thought probably halfway around the first lap they had the tyres in a much better position than the start of the lap. But it's all these little things that you don't think about that play into the battles unfolding and sort of any mistakes we might see.
Gilkova is having a look here, side-by-side action then, as they come back up the hill then towards that very slow chicane, and use the toe for the first part of this section of the circuit where it is indeed flat out. Again, side-by-side, and you can see that they're both so worried about touching each other here as they come up towards the right-hander. Gilkova has the inside line here. Pepper then is just about going to defend it right now, but she's not going to be able to open up this left-hander coming up. And well, as it stands through the trees, we can see here, it will indeed be Pepper that holds on, but they're still side by side then. Gilkova still wants this position. This is fantastic action from both drivers here then. And can Pepper hang on? Well, is Gilkova still going to be able to... No, she's not. Oh, no! Gilkova and Pepper have had it coming together then. And I think Gilkova just had a bit too much momentum going up the hill. Pepper may have just had to have let off the gas ever so slightly. And well, it was a good battle, but unfortunately, it's ended pretty nastily there.
Yeah, I think that was just it was side by side for so long, and I think Gilkova there looked to sort of get the switch back going up the hill there. She had the outside line, she sort of lifted and braked a bit earlier than usual to kind of set that sort of exit up. And I think it was a bit of a misjudgment on both their parts there that Tasman Pepper slowed it down at the apex on a narrower line. Like I said, these are lines that she wouldn't have practiced in throughout all the practice sessions they've done this week, plus qualifying. She only practiced being on a bit of circuit that Gilkova wasn't at the time. So it's all these little things and sort of mistakes like that can happen. It's just racing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Visser still leads here by 2.9 seconds. We will add here that there is no damage on today, so we don't race open wheel cars at the Nordschleifer anymore. So we turned the damage off today, so it gave the drivers a fair crack of the whip because, again, this circuit's one of those circuits that just bites so hard. And again, with a 2-lap race, you can't even tow back to the pits and get yourself back involved in a race if it does indeed go pear-shaped. But as it stands, then, it is Visser still leading by 3 seconds now. Again, halfway through the second lap here, and she's gained another second. So very much usual progress here from Visser. She's just been so dominant this season and actually genuinely has an opportunity to win the title today. So we will indeed keep you involved or keep you up to date with all of the mathematics going on behind the scenes. We'll try our best to do it live, but again, maths is not my strong point, that's for sure. Marta Garcia still in second position. Marty then is in third. Caitlin Wood in fourth position as it stands then. Gilkova is in fifth spot then after that incident with Tasman Pepper. And Pepper, to be fair, has recovered really nicely here. She's in between Belen Garcia and indeed Sarah Moore as it stands. So those three drivers then trying to push potentially for the top 5, although Gilkova would have indeed got herself an extra couple of tenths as we come up then towards the carousel for the very final time in race number 1, although it will be like the second of 6 times they come through here today. Very interesting indeed. And she's just doing what she needs to do here, Billy, isn't she? She's obviously the quickest driver around the circuit. We saw that in qualifying, but she's just not putting a foot wrong right now.
No, she's very... It seems like a very collected drive from Visser. She obviously is aware of the points gap. She knows what she needs to do. You can see on this lap the gap to Marta Garcia is definitely not extended as much as it was on the first lap. It seemed like the first lap Visser really went for it, and this second lap she just seems to be controlling the gap. It's only about, I think, about a second at this stage in the lap so far that she's gained on Marta Garcia compared to sort of 2.5, nearly 3 seconds on the opening lap. So she has got to be aware that she wants that fastest lap point as well. So don't sort of get too comfortable and not go for that. I'm sure that she's got enough pace in her locker to be able to get that job done. Yeah,
fastest lap's been Bicycle. This is just the way she rolls. She gets it every single week pretty much. And again, really only an opportunity to do that on the second lap. Of course, they have a standing start on lap 1, so they will indeed lose a load of time just because of that anyway. So it's all about lap number 2 for this race. Marta Garcia then 4.2 seconds behind. So as we talk about the fastest lap, it looks like Visser indeed is going to get that as well. Neria Marti then 2.4 seconds behind Marta Garcia with half a lap to go. Maybe an opportunity to potentially close that gap. Be interested to see what's happening between the Belen Garcia, Pepper, and well, hold on, Gilkova is close. Well, Woods dropped down? No, sorry, Sarah Moore's dropped down. Sarah Moore's now down into P10. Schiff is now P9 and Agra's moved up to P8. So Pepper is currently in P7. So there must have been some sort of contact there between those drivers because they were all very close, and actually 2 of them have dropped down the order here. Belen Garcia then in P6 as it stands. Gilkova P5, 2.2 seconds behind, and actually the closest battle right now will be Sarah Moore and Naomi Schiff. So Sarah Moore then trying to potentially rein in a P9. She was in a better position only a couple of minutes ago, and something's definitely happened here. But again, like we said, the damage has been turned off today, so there is an opportunity for these drivers, if they make a little small mistake, that they can indeed regain.
Yeah, and I think that's going to encourage a bit of action, the fact that we've got no damage in race number 2, particularly with the reverse grid sort of element. Normally we see the likes of Visser and Garcia, they try and navigate the traffic as cleanly as possible because they don't want to get damage. Well, this time it'll be interesting to see if there's any tactics deployed, whether Visser comes out the blocks firing and really throwing some aggressive moves out there to try and get this championship and league wrapped up as soon as possible. And what if obviously Marta Garcia will be starting in front of Visser in the race at this, judging from where they are now. So we might see some different stuff being employed here, and here comes Visser towards the line.
Yeah, it looks like Bicycle Visser that is going to take the victory here. She'll take P1 in race number 1. Marta Garcia is probably going to finish in second spot unless she makes a big mess of it in the final couple of corners. Marty then is in P3, Wood P4. Chilkova then is going to finish in that top 5. But it doesn't matter because it's all about Bicycle Visser once again. She has proven that she is the best in this esports league so far, Billy. And well, it's not changed today.
No, it really hasn't. That was a real controlled, dominant drive. We saw in qualifying her pace gap 2 and a bit seconds. I mean, like I said, it's sort of mind-blowing to look at that sort of time difference compared to what you get at a normal circuit. We normally see sort of them operating in a few tenths of each other, but that just shows how challenging this circuit is and how the fine details across such a long lap make a huge difference to lap times.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just been normal service resumed. Bicycle Visser will take the victory in race number 1. Marta Garcia, though, again, second in the Esports League standings as it stands. She finishes second again. I was a bit worried about the second race and, you know, the reverse grid. It might actually be the first time we see one of the winners from race 1 actually go right through the order and potentially pick up a win. But that was a lot closer than I thought. So I'm very much looking forward to race number 2. But before we head there, let's hear from one of this season's newcomers to the W Series, who's already picked up a reverse grid victory at Suzuka, Belen Garcia.
So I'm Belen Garcia, I'm 20 years old and I'm from Barcelona. So I started 5 years ago in karting, directly in the senior category, and the last year of karting, last year, I was in KZ, so the higher category. And this year I started the Spanish F4 Championship.
History is about to be made.
I have been following them. Actually, I've been commentating on TV and the races, so I've been following closely. The impact it has, it changed a lot of minds, and I think it was very positive for all drivers. And just in the championship and the first championship of Spain, we are 3 female drivers, which is a higher number than it's usual to have. So I think it's made an impact.
The young Spaniard Marta Garcia is going to take the win in W Series.
Yeah, we raced with Marta Garcia in last year in the Spanish Championship of karting. So yeah, I know her. It's an opportunity, a big opportunity. I would have never thought I would get into an F3 car, and now I think it's the time, more or less, and I'll take all my chances. I can't still believe it, so it's great, just great.
And Belen's not the only new driver who's made a big impression in this esports championship. So too does Isla Agren. Agren from P3 up into P1. Isla Agren, very impressive drive. Agren, all of a sudden, right up the top of the timesheets there.
My name is Isla Agren, 26 years old. I am from Norway, but I currently live in the States in Houston, Texas. I'm super excited to get a chance to be a part of the 2020 season.
18 competitors out on track. It wouldn't be on track if it wasn't for this championship.
I definitely followed. It's on my recorder at home, so I could watch the races after I got back from weekend races that I was working. But it was really cool to watch the progress of the drivers. You saw that it got closer and closer every race, and obviously Jamie and Weitske battling was a lot of fun to watch.
Lisa and Chadwick, that battle continues.
Defending hard, but this is going to get a nose through, and she's past Jamie Chadwick.
Hopefully I get to be a part of it next year. I know Bruna a little bit better because we used to race for the same team with Team Palfrey over in the US. So it's cool to meet them again, meet new girls that have been racing. You've heard about them but never met. So it's cool to all meet and see where we compare to each other from different genres. Every session I'm out there, I want to take another step and improve my own driving, and most of all make sure that I use the tools that I have to do better and better.
Race 2, reverse grid time here then, round 9. Race 2 here at the Nordschleifer of the W Series Esports League, and it's Vicky Piria on pole position with Tomaselli in second, and we've got Hawkins in third spot. Radest is in fourth, and already Silakova's made a move then for P4. She's made the move there on Radest, and well, it's going to be interesting to see as to whether Marta Garcia and Visser can indeed go through the pack here. And already a couple of positions made there. Actually, it looks like Moore and Marty have dropped down there, which is not ideal. We've got Tomaselli then leading the way from Piria. So she's made an overtake here early in this race, and it's kind of the case of it's 2 laps go. Oh, there's big carnage in the background there by the looks of things as well, which is not ideal. But it's not going to be too worried about Tomaselli. And I don't know what's happened there. A bit too much curb maybe, and Piria has completely lost it there, pirouetting off the circuit, and that is not how you want to be taking the first sector here of the Nordschleife, Billy.
No, far from it. I mean, we always knew there was going to be action here. The pace difference between the front runners and the girls at the back as well. It was just going to encourage there to be so much action. Look how close they are all running together now at this early stage of the lap. It's I don't know how they're going to make it through, and we got more contacts. So many people going off now.
This is why we do not have the Nordschleifer here in real life. That was 4 cars there trying to battle for the same part of the circuit. There's 21 kilometers to fight for. You don't have to fight for that one specific part of the circuit. That was not good. And well, it's given Visser the opportunity to indeed come through here. She's now up into what would be P9. Pepper's now P10. And Marta Garcia then is in P11. So they've all been involved in something here because they are not close at all as it stands. Tomaselli, though, leads the way. Naomi Schiff in P2 now. Again, an opportunity for these drivers to potentially get their first victory. Radest then is in P3. So the top 3 here, none of them have got a race victory so far. Biska Visser, though, she is looking to potentially take on P8 here as she come up the hill. Again, you've just got to be very, very careful around the circuit. We saw an incident between Jilkova and indeed, I can't remember who it was now, actually, in the first race. Seems like it was so long ago, but it wasn't. Oh, that's definitely not the line you want to be taking through there for sure. Just jumped over the curb, bit of rallycross action, and Visser should get a freebie here. Yes, she does indeed, up to P8 then for her. And Radest is now down to P7, so she was battling for a potential victory here, but she's now down to P7. Schiff now takes the lead of the race, then, so Tomaselli making mistakes here. We're seeing mistakes aplenty around this circuit, and Tomaselli with an opportunity. She's not taking it. Naomi Schiff now leads, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, it's all action. It looks like Tomaselli here has actually got either some sort of damage, or it looks like almost like she's letting them by. Maybe, I don't know if you can even get to the stage where you can get a sort of yield penalty around the circuit like this. Maybe she has that, but Jilkova, for me, what are the first couple laps, or first half a lap really from her? It's been great. And now Tomaselli's in the wall. Oh god, it's all kicking off.
Yeah, the wall like caught her there. I don't know what happened there. It was like a catch offence. Not ideal. Sidakova looks like she may have the slowdown penalty on her screen there. She's going to drop down her position now. Belen Garcia moves up into P3 as it stands. But Naomi Schiff and then Jilkova lead this race. Neither of these drivers have a win so far this season. Belen Garcia in 3rd position. Sidakova in 4th. Grisham up to 5th spot, which is great stuff. We're on the board, though, with the front 2 battling for the lead of this race. And Naomi Schiff, then, an opportunity here to showcase her skills. Jilkova's going to try and go around the outside here. The line has been indeed, well, she made it very, very obvious she's going to take the inside line as Naomi Schiff. Jilkova then is going to have to go the long way round here. And again, the track does indeed tighten and then go towards the right here. So Jilkova may have an opportunity. But this happened last time in the first race here. Hopefully it doesn't go so badly this time. Well, as you can see here, they're still side by side, almost rubbing tyres there. And Jilkova still has not got the move done here, completed. Schiff there just drops down. And well, Jilkova piles the pressure on and takes the lead in this race.
She's had a great first lap so far. I mean, I think in race 1 she finished in the top 5 just about. And now she's leading race 2. So this has been a great drive from her. She really kept composed. And also you got Visser, who's now 4th after not even 1 lap. I mean, this could be a chance to win all 3 races. We haven't seen it done so far.
Yeah, this is the chance here. She is so scary. She is so fast. It's ridiculous the pace that this driver has here through the carousel. You can see it just looks so composed. Never looks like she's pushing the car as well. That's the best thing about here. Me driving styles, Billy. Let's talk a little bit about driving styles. You see drivers that are very, very aggressive behind the steering wheel. Of course, they're not going to be looking after their tires and not going to be looking after their engines and stuff. But if we're going to talk about a smooth driving style, Bajska is that personified.
Yeah, I mean, watching her on board now, you can see it's never sort of she never makes two sort of efforts at the corner. She always steers once and then releases the steering as she gets down to the apex. It's never sort of steering in, realizing she's turned in too early, steering out. She's so smooth with her inputs, and in a single-seater car, that's exactly the sort of technique that allows you to gain lap time. Obviously, you need to have some sort of aggression in you, especially when it comes to sort of the brake shapes and stuff like that. Really being aggressive with your feet, so coming off the pedals and to carry that minimum corner speed, which he clearly has. But it's just a balancing act, and I think what we're seeing here from Visser is she really knows how to get the most out of this car on the sim right now.
I think the most impressive thing is how quickly she's able to open the wheel up. If you could explain to people at home what that means, Billy, but she's just able to open up wheel up so easily.
Yeah, so when you sort of carry any steering angle into a corner, it's just obviously going to result in you scrubbing corner speed off and losing lap time. And sort of the confidence of the best drivers out there is to really be able to just open the steering lock up that extra few degrees as soon as possible to carry that corner speed out of the corners and just play with the amount of track limits, especially on a track like this where it's so narrow and so it punishes you so much if you run wide. Having that confidence in releasing the steering, just the amount of lap time you'll gain over a lap like this is incredible.
Yeah, for sure. As it stands, though, we're heading on to the second lap of this race. We're onto that big, long straight here where you know that the lap's nearly over. And Bajska Visser, then, is now about 4 seconds behind Belen Garcia. Total, she's around about 8 seconds behind the leader of this race. I'll tell you what, if she was to get a second victory here, it would be, I would say, probably her best performance so far. And she's had so many of those performances. But I tell you, there's one driver who leads this race who's not going to be one to give that opportunity up here. Jilkova, she has tested for the W Series before. This is an opportunity for her to indeed show that she belongs. And wow, she's doing everything in her power right now. Leads by 2.3 seconds to Naomi Schiff. And again, Naomi Schiff is another driver who hasn't won a race yet this season, Billy. So these two have both got something to prove.
Yeah, they have. And like you said about Jilkova, she's done a great job. She's come into this league late on. She hasn't been here since the start, and she's doing a great job of controlling the lead right now. 2.4 seconds, which obviously is a big gap to Naomi Schiff, but I wouldn't underestimate her or the likes of Belen Garcia, who's actually right on the back of Naomi Schiff right now. We saw her get her first victory not so long ago. So Visser, obviously in the background, she's got to hope for them to all sort of catch each other up and start battling, because as quick as she is, I just really can't see her clawing out 8 seconds in a lap. That would just be incredible.
Yeah, I was just about to say there, let's get on board with Marta Garcia, because she's having another battle with Pepper that's happened so often this esports series. And well, our camera guy is straight on it without me even saying anything. Great stuff there. And wow, look how close it is between the two drivers. 0.2 of a second then separating Marta Garcia and indeed Tasmin Pepper. And she'll know that she needs to go and close up to Visser, but Pepper's not one of those drivers it's going to be very easy for her to do. They are very similarly matched in pace. Of course, Marta with the most points in the championship between the two, but you know, raw pace, Billy, these two are very similar indeed.
Yeah, they are. I mean, we've seen some great races from Tasmin Pepper. The difference between the two, really, I think, has been the racecraft side of things. I think we've seen better racecraft from Marta Garcia in knowing when to overtake and when not to, and how to defend her position properly in race. We've always seen more likely than the other Pepper sort of make a mistake during a race which costs her a few positions, even though that's not where she should be. And also, yeah, just the consistency in general from Marta Garcia, especially over the second half of this league. It's what's really put her in contention for the league title, and she's one who's taken the fight to Visser. Visser's in 4th. She knows that she needs to finish at least 5th here to put any pressure on Visser right now.
Yeah, this is the area of the circuit where it's been most favoured for overtakes, obviously. Taken away the final big long straight as well, but yeah, it's not quite going to be happening here then for Marta Garcia. Over rotates the car ever so slightly there, which is not ideal. Again, that's what Billy was talking about in terms of scrubbing speed. I'll tell you what, Charlie Martin, P8 right now, she's doing a great job here in her first race with us in the W Series. Actually got to cast her in the Formula E series a couple of months ago, so she's no stranger to a simulator. And again, I was speaking earlier, her only ever podium in sim racing has come at the Nordschleifer, so she was probably looking pretty good here, or feeling pretty good about this opportunity here. 9 seconds, though, off of Sidorkova as it stands, but actually the real battle is still Marta Garcia and Pepper, although Belen Garcia's closed in on Schiff as well. Visser is now only 1.3 seconds behind, so there may be a late assault here for Bajtska to maybe grab a podium and maybe even something a bit more. We're on board then with Belen Garcia, currently holding on to that P3. She'll want to get a car between her and Visser, that's for sure, because yeah, you could just hear the Jaws music when Visser's behind you. Surely it's just like da-da, da-da. That's the one name you do not want behind you at any circuit in the world is Bajtska, especially in the form she is in. I'd say the form of her life right now in terms of sim racing anyway, especially coming off the back of a 6-hour endurance race round here. Like, there's just, yeah, you don't want to be racing against those sort of people. That is for certain. And again, there's an opportunity for this week. Potentially, Bajtska could win the title. It's going to be very tough for her to do it in race 2, but potentially after race 3, we might be able to crown our W Series Esports League champion. We're on board with Marta Garcia. Then she's still not able to get past Pepper. Pepper is making that car as wide as possible. This is a flat-out part of the circuit. I don't think Marta is quite close enough here. And also, we are starting to see the difference in gear ratios, because on a normal circuit, she would have probably been already alongside Pepper here with the slipstream Billy, but again, she's just not quite got the pace to do it early enough here. And I think as we go around this right-hander, although she's going to try and go around the outside, who am I to say that Marta Garcia can't do anything? This is great stuff here then between the two drivers, and nearly a bit of contact, squeezes Pepper out wide, and ooh, that's a little bit naughty, but right on the limit there, Billy.
Yeah, it actually didn't look like they made contact. It looked like they were sort of just about to. And like you said earlier, Luke, it might be a netcode issue or something like that. But yeah, if it was contact just from Marta moving over there, that's a little bit cheeky. And I think if damage is on, we might not have seen something like that happen.
Yeah, very good point there, Billy. I don't think there's any contact. I think there was a car's width left out there. It was just a case of, I'm squeezing you out here. You're not going to be able to take the apex at full speed. I'm going to be able to do it. And then you can't battle me for the next sort of couple of corners. But again, just using her racing IQ. We've not seen anything nasty from Marta all season, to be fair. She's been clean as a whistle. So I wouldn't suggest that she'd created any contact there, that's for sure. But let's check out maybe the battle for P4 and P3 and P2 actually. So there's 3 drivers here battling for that second step on the podium. And wow, look how close they are then. Visser shapes up a move up the inside, grabs a bit too much curb there, which will indeed unsettle the car, but I think it is job done. Belen Garcia has to back out, and well, Bajtska is from the back of the grid again, up into a podium position. Not too sure she's close enough to take the victory here, but she will be looking at Naomi Schiff right now, and she'll be thinking, I want this P2. I want this P2 right now, and I want to end this esports league with a bang. Big opportunity here through then the very snaky flat-out S's then as we come up towards the final sector here then at the Nordschleifer. Again, never thought I'd be saying this with open-wheel cars, as crazy as that may sound. But Jilkova, again, has just done the job perfectly here. 5.5 seconds now the lead for Jilkova. Plenty of a buffer there to work on for the rest of this lap here. And it looks like we may have our next winner.
Yeah, Jilkova, she's done a great job. The first lap is where her race was really made, to be honest. I mean, she came back through from right near the back of the grid, and she came through into the front of the race very early on, while we saw the likes of Visser and Marta Garcia not have as great first laps. And then that was it, job done. She got into lead, 5 and a bit second gap. There's no way that anyone's catching her at this point. She's definitely shown us great pace and great commitment to be able to put the time in to get herself to this level and catch the other drivers up who have had obviously a bit more experience in this league so far.
Visser, P2. So this is huge now because Jilkova officially doesn't score points. So Visser would officially get 20 points here and more than likely the fastest lap. So Visser has got up into P2. Schiff is close as well. So I think Schiff might be able to go back at her here. Are they close? We're still on board with Jilkova. Might be worth looking at the second 2 drivers here. There we go. And while they are side by side then, it will be Jilkova that will take the victory here. And I think Schiff is back up into P2, so she's not given up here. A final few corners here at the Nordschleifer, and well, as we said, Jilkova will take the victory, but who will get P2? Will Visser be able to get it, or will it be Naomi Schiff? This could be huge, and it will be officially, in terms of points then, the race victory. Around the final corner we come, and Naomi Schiff then, she does indeed hold on, and she will take P2. Visser will take P3, but again, in the points, it will be Naomi Schiff that gets the full points for the race victory. We can't take it away from her. Jilkova Joukova takes the victory here. And what a performance it was, Billy.
That was a great performance from Joukova. She did a great job. She controlled the race, stayed out of trouble. And then Naomi Schiff at the end holding on Visser. Visser, with the amount of pace she had and how sort of so much pressure she put on Schiff there. That was a great defensive driving. And that's sort of the where we've sometimes seen her make mistakes over the course of the season so far. But she really held her own there. And second position was truly deserved for her.
Yeah. Fantastic racing from Schiff and Joukova, of course. Visser coming all the way from the back of the grid. It's a fantastic stuff. Another new winner. Joukova will take the checkered flag here, regardless of whether she scores 0 points or not. She will be absolutely over the moon. Bragging rights for Joukova. And wow, that's the end of race 2. I now cannot wait for race number 3.
Oh, Gabby, congratulations. You turn up as a guest driver. You were impressive the first time you did it, even more so tonight. You've won the race. You might not get the points, but you still got the win.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Like in the week before I joined the races in Suzuka, I had quite bad luck with the crashes. I thought that here in Nordschleifer it's gonna be the same, actually, maybe even worse because the track is like really narrow. But everything like happened really well for me. So yeah, really happy for my first win in the Esports League.
I know you're a very talented sim racer, but you also got very, very close to getting into W Series as well. Would that still be your aim, to qualify for W Series?
Yeah, of course. I still think that on a sim, I'm slower than in real. So definitely. When will be the chance and the possibility, I'm going to try it again.
Well, it was a perfect advert for your skills tonight, so well done.
Thank you very much.
Well, I think our drivers have almost tamed the green hell, because you never quite tame the green hell, do you? But Bajtska Visser has certainly driven as we would expect of somebody of her caliber. 419 points. She is now 66 points ahead of her nearest rival, Marta Garcia. Garcia is 51 points ahead of Sidorkova. Nerea Marti is in 4th, Tasman Pepper 5th, Caitlin Wood is in 6th, and Garcia and Agron have switched positions. Just 1 point between them. Sarah Moore and Alice Powell round out the top 10. But look, if we're getting into the details of this, so far it has been pretty good from Bajtska Visser, which means that she could win this Esports League tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. If she is the same distance as she is right now after race number 3 in terms of points, she will be our first ever Esports League champion, and that's huge. That is huge. She's been dominant throughout the series so far. Marta Garcia has kind of come in over the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks and been very, very strong, but it has been all about Bajtska Visser, and I don't see anyone changing that right now.
And Billy, she would love to do that, especially at a circuit like this one.
Yeah, it's such a challenging circuit, and like I said earlier on in the program, it just shows you how complete of a driver someone is if they can tackle the Nordschleife and dominate the way she has. She's had a third from right at the back of the grid. She won the first race comfortably. I think on her current form and the pace difference that we saw in qualifying, I can only see this going one way. And if she does wrap it up right now, for me, it's well deserved.
But look, it would be remiss if we didn't mention and congratulate Gabriela Joukova. You said a couple of weeks ago that she was a really talented sim racer, and we saw that tonight.
Yeah, she's, from my sources, she just about missed out on the W Series. So this was a genuine opportunity for her to prove a point. And well, there's no better place than the Nordschleifer to do that. And in race 2, just absolutely flawless. And as you said, a star in the sim racing world, not only just of her pace, but she's like a Twitch streamer. She's got a big following. She's doing all the right things right now to just keep herself in the market. The future is really bright for Joukova.
Yeah, these reverse grids are always hugely interesting, aren't they? We had a bit of carnage at the start, but somebody who started off this series as, say, the queen of the reverse grids was Emma Kymäläinen. She's not just one of Finland's best racing drivers, she's also the queen of the airwaves.
Emma Kymäläinen's got a nose in front.
Very, very good overtaking.
Absolutely brilliant racing.
Kymäläinen has taken the win.
Racing is definitely something I'm really passionate about. I love it, but it's not who I am. Like, it's not my whole identity. For me, it's plenty of things. It's being a mother, being a wife, being happy, being able to be happy no matter what I do. I'm an entrepreneur. That's basically what I am. I have my own company, and I'm also a media personality doing radio for the biggest commercial channel in Finland. I was quite young when I started karting, younger than my daughter is now. I was 3 years old and she's 6. I moved up to Formula cars when I was 15. And I did Formula Ford, won the championship there, and then Europe tracks, and I became an Audi factory driver as well. Then my phone rang one beautiful day, Scandinavian Touring Car Championships, and we've been having an eye on you for a really long time. Do you want to come and drive? And I was like, yeah, for sure. And then I drove my first race when my daughter had her first birthday.
So you probably noticed that Emma Kymäläinen wasn't there for the first 2 races tonight, but the good news is she will be taking part in our final race, and qualifying for the final race is about to get underway. Let's rejoin Billy and Luke.
Thank you, Lee. Race 3, round 9. And well, we have got that battle between Marta Garcia and Beitske Visser. And well, the only thing that Marta Garcia can do is she can stop Visser from winning the championship today in this final race. My name is Luke Crane, and I'm joined by Billy Munger. Well, can Marta Garcia do it, Billy?
Yeah, I mean, Marta Garcia, she's not had the edge on Visser at all today. Visser has been in a league of her own, and she's getting the big points when it counts, when she knows that she needs to have delivered a good round here to get the title wrapped up. That's exactly what she's done so far. But saying that, Marta Garcia is currently on pole position for race 3, so as things stand, she is trying to fight back as hard as possible.
As Jared would say, she's taken the first step towards keeping this to next week. So, you know, it's all or nothing right now then. Marta Garcia leading by 0.6 of a second. We've got Wood then in 3rd spot. It's the usual 3 in qualifying, really, here as we come through the carousel. We're on board with Marta Garcia, and well, we are going to be waiting a very long time to find out as to whether she's improved on her time, or indeed whether Visser has indeed got that pole position. Again, only 0.6 of a second to play with. Of course, it is a little bit slower lap time from qualifying number 1. It's about 2 seconds difference, and that's just due to the track temperatures being a little bit different in our 3rd race of the session. It'd be so good, Billy, wouldn't it, if Marta was able to get pole position, Visser in 2nd. We pretty much know now that Visser is going to be our champion at some point, but it'd be great to see them duke it out today, wouldn't it?
It'd be great to just see, yeah, Marta Garcia really sort of go out on her shield here and try and take the fight to Visser, who has literally today proven so far that she is the whipper of the 2 and she deserves to be the champion. That's as it stands, but we love a Marta Garcia fight back. We love a fight back in general, so game on for race 3. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and let's not discount here Wood or Marty as well. They're not far off the pace here, and they've showed in little patches here, of course, that they've got some serious pace. And Jill Cover, of course, winner from race number 2. Could she make it 2 for 2? Again, she'd love to do it when it's a qualifying in front of the race. And of course, it doesn't matter how difficult it is in terms of qualifying or if it's a reverse grid race. Just winning with this plethora of talented drivers in this championship here is huge for Chilkova. But she'll want to get it done in race number 3. So again, the stories all over the grid right now. More, again, could have been so much more today. She's had a couple of incidents, unfortunately, during the first couple of races. But again, she's showing she's got some pace to be up in the top 6 here. Grisham in top 7 right now, and it's really important. As we saw from race number 1, only 7 drivers managed to get a lap time in, Billy. But now we've got 9 drivers. I think they've realised the importance of just getting across that line and making sure that you're starting somewhere in front.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, qualifying around a circuit like is so narrow and doesn't really allow much room for error. You need to get at least a banker lap in at the start of the session to allow yourself to be able to push the limit on the second lap. And I think that's what we've seen from the likes of Marta Garcia and Visser here, and the girls that are at the front, the competitors that we normally see at the front as well. They always seem to get a banker lap in at the right moment, and it's no different today. The top 2 in the championship are currently the top 2 in the session with their banker laps, and let's see how much quicker they go on this second lap.
Yeah, again, you know, they're very, as much as we're saying, they're a little bit slower than the first qualifying session. Again, we do expect it to be that. The fact that they've got banker laps in at that sort of pace is quite ridiculous, to be honest, which does give them a lot of room for maneuver. They can really push the limits of the car. And again, it's kind of, you know, nothing. It's either a quick time or nothing at this point. You just drive the absolute wheels off of the car across the line. Then we go here for Marta Garcia, and she has gone faster then. It is a 45.5. Visser responds, but it's not quick enough. So it will be pole position for Marta Garcia. Biasca Visser is going to go... Well, no, she is in second, sorry. Neria Marti then was in third spot, but then we have got Caitlin Wood who puts it up into third position. Wow. Okay, so this is on now. Again, Marta Garcia has to win this race realistically, and she's got to hope that Visser maybe finishes a little bit lower than second to try and keep this championship going for the next week to Silverstone. But she's done the first job here. So Marta Garcia leads out. She's taken pole position, but she's got Visser in behind her. Billy, we're in for a bit of a classic, I think.
I think we really are. We've seen great racing from these two before. It all comes down to the wire race 3 here in the Nordschleife, whether Visser can get the job done. The fact that there was a 2 and a bit second gap in the first qualifying session between them just shows you how much Marta Garcia's experience and how much she's leveling her game up when it really matters. To take pole by a 10th of a second and just over a 6.5 minute long lap, that is just incredible to see how close these two are battling, and this is going to go down to the wire.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I'm really excited for this. It will be Biasca Visser on pole position. Biasca Visser not on pole position. Marta Garcia on pole position and Biasca Visser in second. Race 3. Oh, it's going to be a cracker. Race 3 then, ladies and gentlemen, of the W Series Esports League. Round 9 here at the Nordschleifer, and Marta Garcia, she's got it all to do here. She has to take victory to keep the championship alive going into the final week next week. And wow, she gets through turn number 1, and she's done exactly that as it stands there. Visser's got a pretty good start as well in P2. So it is opposite roles reversed from the previous race number 1. We've got Wood then is in P3, Marty in P4, Jilkova in P5. So no one's really made any moves or shakes as of yet, but look how close it is right now. So Marta Garcia, again, just has to try and get that sort of 2-second gap that Biasca Visser did in race number 1. Whether she's going to be able to do that or not, I'm not too sure. But it's not the best of starts, I would say, for Marta in terms of what Biasca Visser did in race number 1.
Yeah, Biasca really sort of stretched her legs early in the opening lap of the first race and got the job done to get out of the tow. Now we see Visser here. Marta's not been able to do that, but we saw how much tighter it was in qualifying for race 3 than race 1. I think these two are evenly matched, and you're going to see this close battling the whole time, and there's a gap on the inside. Visser takes the lead. She is not messing about. She wants this title.
There was no gap there. Then all of a sudden it just opened up with the usage of the curb. And again, I was saying at the top of the show here, don't use the curbs around this circuit. They will hurt you. But it's worked out in Biasca Visser's favour here, and she's got into the lead here. And as it stands then, she would be our Esports League champion. And well, Marta Garcia, she sees her target directly in front of her. She knows what she's got to do here in the slipstream. Then she's now going to pull up into the inside here, potentially make a move. Not quite close enough. Biasca Visser then indeed just holds her line. And wow, as we come up then the hill towards the chicane of Dreams here, you've got to open it up here for this left-hander. You see Marta's opened up a little bit better, and actually on the exit she lost a bit though, to be fair. Biasca Visser's gone through there nicely, and again, Biasca Visser's got to do what she did in race number 1. Try and get that gap out to around about 2 seconds, then she hasn't got to be worried about the slipstream. There's battles going in behind, by the way. We've got Neri and Marty and Jilkova also very, very close there. They're separated by 0.2 of a second. Come through the right, tricky right-hander. It is flat out, but again, the rear will like to step out. And well, Biasca Visser's doing the job she needs to do right now. She leads the race, Billy.
Yeah, she's doing a great job, but Marta Garcia, she's quick. She's got her pace where she needs to get it to. We saw that in qualifying. She made that sort of mistake by letting Visser take advantage on the early phases of this lap. Oh, I think she's off.
She's gone. Yep. She's off into the grass there. Big mistake, and the pressure, well, it was piled on by Biasca Visser, and Marta Garcia has crumbled here. She moves down to 3rd position. And wow, is it going to be 3rd spot? Well, waiting for the timing to at least sort itself out. Yes, it is. So Marta Garcia now has got all of the work in the world to do right now. Currently P3. Wood moves up to P2. And Visser, well, she's got into the lead. She's put the pressure on Marta to try and be faster and faster and faster. And it's just not worked out there. And you can see, you know, this is one of those circuits where the jet wash of a car really does affect the car in behind.
Yeah, there's a high-speed section of corners that a lot of quick right-handers leading into each other. If you run a little bit wide through one of them, it will compromise you on the exit. And it just looked like she sort of ran a little bit wide, but obviously she's very she's trying to attack the corner as much as possible to stay with Visser, and it just caught her out. She ended up running out of road into the barrier. Her race isn't over. She's still got time here. It's a 2-second lead though when we're talking about Marta Garcia compared to Visser. She's not got Wood far in front of her. She needs to get past Wood as soon as possible, but I just don't know if it's doable now.
She knows she's 0.6 of a... Well, she only 1.5 tenths of a second quicker in qualifying, to be fair, actually, as they both did improve at the end. But she knows she's faster over a lap, so potentially, if she can get past Wood, she can really then start putting Visser under a load of pressure again. Wood, sorry, I'm getting so mixed up today. Visser will indeed be looking at the delta. She'll be looking at the relative all of the time. So it's all about just getting those marginal gains and then potentially being able to maybe spook Visser into a mistake, as we're on board here with Isla Agron. Currently a battle for P7. Grisham then is coming through the carousel here, and oh dear, there's the mistake. Runs over the top of the carousel, and you do not recover once you hit the top side of the carousel, Billy.
No, that was perfectly demonstrating how difficult a corner is. You're going a little bit too hot there. You don't catch the camber there as you need to in the banking. It's such a bank corner. If you don't get on the lower part of it, you end up going over the top of the banking onto the flat part, and then you lose so much lap time because of it. So a little bit too greedy on the brakes there, and that's cost her a fair bit of lap time and a position.
Yeah, it's just one of those corners. It's such a, well, I say one of those corners. It's like the most unique corner in motorsport. You know, we don't see that corner at normal circuits. It's just not used like that. And when you lose time or when you go over the top of the crest there, it's not recoverable. It's one of those. It's not like a cambered corner like we've had in previous circuits, where indeed a couple of different lines you lose maybe minimal a couple of tenths. So I tell you what, is that Jilkova? Yeah, it is Jilkova putting the pressure here on Neria Marti. So Marti there runs a little bit wide, hits it onto the curb, and well, she was a bit of a passenger. That the curbs here are so raised, Billy. You know, you get the middle of the body of the car on top of those curbs, and you know you've got no wheels touching the ground, and you're just hoping momentum takes you back onto the circuit.
Yeah, we've seen so many sort of crashes and mistakes in the past sort of years of racing around a circuit like this, where people just make mistakes, hit the curbs, and it's game over. Like I said, there's literally, you can see a little bit of grass runoff and then a barrier, and it's costly around here because some of the curbs are flat and you can use, but being on top of which ones you can use and can't use, and actually nailing that sort of turning an apex at every corner and not catching one, that's a different story. That sort of, it takes a different level of concentration to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Jilkova, just again, she's under a bit of pressure from behind now from Moore, but she's keeping busy. What I'm saying in that regard is she's taking different lines in the mirrors of the car in front, but she's not losing a lot of speed in terms of being, you know, losing out to the driver in front. Although they have both lost out to Moore and behind. Moore's closing right up for a top 5 here. We're on about here for P2 then, and we said that Marta Garcia needs to get this job done as soon as possible. And well, as we head then along this long straight here, you can see she's maybe lacking a little bit of straight line speed. And Billy was talking about the gear ratios earlier. They will have had a chance to set the cars up a little bit differently. And there you go. You can see now that Wood's car is just able to pull away. And well, enough horsepower there, enough strength to indeed just about keep hold of P2. And Marta has to go late on the brakes here. You know, well, she has done. There you go. Okay, so shows what I know. Marta Garcia does move up into P2. Now the challenge is on. She has to close up to Visser. She has to overtake Visser. Otherwise, it is championship over.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely a real sort of intense battle to see how this unfolds. I mean, you've got Marta Garcia now, who's 2 and a bit seconds behind her championship rival Visser. She needs to beat her. She needs fastest lap. She needs everything she's got right now. She needs all the experience that she's gained over the course of this league, and she needs to deliver it in a 1 lap right now.
Well, she's got 2 laps, so that's the beauty of this final race. She has got an extra lap, which is good. But yeah, you are right. But Visser hasn't won the championship yet. That's the big thing here. Just getting across the line and actually winning a championship is huge. So until you've done it, can you lean on that experience? Well, in a sim racing championship, no. So Visser still has to get this championship sewn up here. So that's what Marta Garcia's got to lean on. She's got to lean on the fact that there's going to be nerves in the car in front here, and it's all about what she can do in terms of her own lap time. So just control your own race here, take a couple of tenths out of Visser, and Visser then knows she cannot let her foot off the gas for the final lap. But already, you can see here that Marta Garcia is actually closing that gap. It was 2.6 seconds. It's now about 2.3. She's already gapped Wood here by a second. And Marta Garcia is absolutely flying right now.
Yeah, she's given it everything she's got, and it's the exact sort of fighting mentality that we've seen from her over this league. We've seen her battle for position, get overtaken by Visser, then overtake her back. We've seen these two in particular fight each other down to the last corner of the last lap like at Spa. We saw Visser try and dive bomb Marta, but Marta held on in that case. And Marta Garcia, her fighting spirit and how she's really sort of come to the front in the last few rounds of this series. She's going to need, like I say, everything that she's got. She's running wide onto curbs there. She's really risking it all right now.
She has to. There's no other choice right now. This is all or nothing right now. Again, through this very tricky left-hander. This is my least favoured corner around this circuit. It's so easy to lose the car there. You just completely lose a sense of weightlessness as you hit the exit of the corner. But Marta Garcia now 2.4 seconds. She did drop a couple of tenths as they come through the top of the hill there. And again, she's now gained a couple of tenths here. So Bajska Visser, I think she knows that she has got a job on her hands as we do indeed move then towards Tasman Pepper. So Pepper's battling here with Grisham. Again, it's one of those, it's a train of cars right now. They've got Grisham and Schiff as well. So Schiff, of course, who took the winning points from race number 2, of course, finished in second spot. She has been in the thick of it pretty much the whole championship races today. It's been fantastic for her. And again, if you can't win a race, Billy, it's always good to, especially in sim racing anyway, is what I find, it's always good to have those side-by-side battles and really test your skills.
Yeah, this is great battling. We've seen a lot of the competitors run side by side in the sort of straight line sections of the circuit, where, like I say, the towing comes more into play. But to see on a tight part of the circuit like this, where it's really tricky to follow, it's very technical. We're seeing some great following action now, and they're just sort of, as drivers, they're looking at where each other are weaker than each other. Sort of any mistakes that might creep into their driving. And I'm sure within the space of the next lap, if they don't get the job done this lap, there'll be some overtakes between these three.
Yeah, well, they're just a little bit more separated now, but again, it's one of those circuits where it can change very quickly. You see mistakes happen at plenty here today. Again, 2.4 seconds, though, is the lead for Bajska Visser. That's the real championship battle going on, although Pepper is making a hell of a move there, potentially rounding outside of Grisham. We just about missed that, unfortunately, but we are on board then with Marta Garcia then. So the gap around about 2.4 seconds, I believe. Is she going to be able to do it then? It's going to be a long old slog here. 2 laps, you know, any other track, 2 laps would be a couple of minutes, you know, for 3-4 minutes, nothing more than that. But this is going to be 15 minutes of hard graft. She comes through the carousel here for the second from last time. Wow, it's going to be. She's dropped Wood. Wood's now a fair few seconds behind now. Jilkova, by the way, P4, so she's ahead of Neri and Marty. And Jilkova may be looking to get a potential podium here if she can catch up to Wood. In the mid-pack, though, it is all going down right now. It looks like we had there Charlie Martin and Belen Garcia fighting for position. We're on board then with Pepper. Pepper's going to have a little nibble up the inside. There's the mistake once again we see from another driver heading onto the top of the carousel, which has given Pepper the opportunity to move up. That was Grisham. So Grisham there making the error. Oh, nose being cut off there by Schiff, and Schiff is taking no. She's not giving up this position without a fight, that's for sure. Oh no, Pepper makes a move up the inside there, and Schiff closed the door there, but far too late for me. And wow, Schiff has ended up all the way around, and wow, you can see now that Pepper moves up into P7.
Yeah, on a circuit like this, it's so narrow, so tight, but as much as you have to respect the circuit and the bounds of the circuit, the edge of the circuit, you need to respect the other drivers that are racing you on it. And in that situation right there, it looked like Schiff was just getting too carried away with trying to fight for position. She shut that door off way too quick, in my opinion. And eventually it ended up costing her. So that's pretty unfortunate to see, but they're fighters. They want to gain positions every single sort of corner. They want to fight into the very last lap and the last corner. So I've got to respect it, but at the same time, they needed to have a bit more respect for each other right then.
Yeah, well, it was a flat-out part of the circuit, wasn't it, Billy? It wasn't a case of it was a braking zone or anything like that. So she had to assume that Pepper was up the inside there, even a little bit. And even if she left the door open, like neither of them lose any time because it's a flat-out part of the circuit. So it's a weird one. If it's a braking zone, you may expect the driver behind to back out by being only minimally alongside there. But when it's a flat-out circuit and you've gained that position via slipstreaming, I just don't think you move across there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, mate. I think that's just a little bit of impatience on her side. She probably knows that she'd prefer to be the leader in that sort of stage of the lap. Obviously, it gets into quite a technical part of the circuit. Maybe a chance for her to open the gap back out and sort of relieve herself of any pressure. But that was not to be the case, and she's made the mistake. She's been punished for it, and now Tasman Pepper's up into P7.
Yeah, Pepper didn't really lose any time at all there, so she's now going to be focused on maybe catching up to Moore and Marty for that top 5. But as we head then towards the end of lap number 2, we're on board with Sarah Moore, and actually Moore is very close in behind Neria Marty. This is for the top 5 position, as we say every week, or as I say every week. If you can't win a race or get a podium, top 5 is the next accolade you're chasing. And as you can see here, Moore is looking for it. She is looking dangerous as well. Neria Marty is also looking pretty damn quick as well. They're not really that far off the lead in all seriousness right now. Visser, though, still leads out here. Marta Garcia in second. Wow, bites with Visser. If she stays in the lead for one more lap around the Nordschleifer, she will officially be the W Series Esports League champion. And that is a huge accolade for her. Of course, she would have probably preferred to have been racing in real cars at this point with the W Series season number 2, but this is the best we could offer in terms of what's happening in the world right now. And while she has taken it upon herself to be the very best, and you know, it does take dedication to be this good at sim racing. A lot of people are like, oh, it's just video games and stuff like that. To be this at this level, Billy, you've got to put in a hell of a lot of time.
Yeah, practice makes perfect, and that goes whatever sort of you're doing in terms of any sport, sim racing, anything like that. It doesn't matter how good you are, how good you think you are. If you don't put in the practice, you don't get the results. And clearly, Visser, despite her obviously natural talent when it comes to sim racing and racing in general, she's put the hours in, because a circuit like this, not many people would know to the extent that she's able to understand it, how comfortable she is leading, sort of fighting through for positions. We've not seen any mistakes from her. Probably the trickiest circuit in the world, and that is just down to putting in the practice, obviously having the talent that she does have, and she looks very much set now to take the title, and it is well deserved.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with all of the drivers here, to be fair. I guess maybe the sort of top 10 drivers, because around a circuit such as this, it takes days to learn it. It's not a case of you can go on for a couple of hours and you can learn it to a pretty good level, a pretty good grade. You know, you need days to be at the level that these drivers have been today. But normally, if you're pretty uncomfortable with a circuit such as this, you just follow a driver in the race and hope they make a mistake or slipstream them to make an overtake. But we've actually seen these drivers go side by side. They're all pretty comfortable with their surroundings here. And, you know, I think if this was week 1, this track, I don't think we would be having the same conversation. I think it would be a lot messier. I think the mistakes we've seen from these drivers haven't been a case of, we just saw, of course, Pepper and Schiff have a little bit of a coming together, but for the most part, it's just driver error where they've made a mistake all on their own. And, you know, we saw with Marta Garcia, she going into the barrier. So we've seen a huge improvement from these drivers from week 1 to week 9 now over the course of this season. And I think this transpires into when they do get into the real cars next season, they're all going to be a little bit more experienced alongside each other as well. Of course, like I've been speaking about racecraft. Racecraft will not change from sim racing to real racing. You will see the aggressive drivers be aggressive in real racing and the aggressive drivers be aggressive in sim racing. I don't know whether you agree with that, Billy, or not, but I feel like this is a really good platform for these drivers to progress in their real series.
Yeah, 100%. This is great sort of learning it. The development of a driver when it comes to sim racing is exactly the same in so many respects to how you develop in the real world. In terms of, obviously, in the real world, it's more difficult to get the actual on-track practice. So sim racing is used as a tool to help develop that, anyways. But just developing aspects of you as a driver in general. We've seen over this series in particular, the thing that stands out for me in terms of one area of driving from one driver, Marta Garcia's defensive driving and how that's improved over the league. That's going to serve her well when it comes to actual real-life racing, and that's going to benefit her. It may make the difference between her potentially being up the front and in the running for winning the W Series when they get back on track next year, or it will make a difference for positions. You need to develop your driving in every aspect.
That's a really good point, because these two drivers were right at the sharp end of the W Series. There's no bones about that. They were fighting for the championship last year. And they're doing the same here in sim racing. So it just goes to show that it does indeed transform across both disciplines. But it is Bajska that leads the way here. Again, half a lap to go around the Nordschleifer for her to pick up the Esports League title. It'd be huge for her to do so. And you could tell from week one, she has been super focused on that. There's no, a lot of drivers have improved around her. A lot of drivers have tried to indeed become the strongest driver in the Esports series. We see Marta Garcia do it over the last few weeks, but Bajska is just, every time a question's been asked, she's had an answer. And again, here at the Nordschleife, she's doing exactly the same right now. She leads. Marta Garcia second, then in third position it is Wood. Jill Cover in fourth position. A great day for Jill Cover, of course, coming in as a guest driver today. Neria Marti then is in fifth position. Moore is in sixth. We've got Pepper in seventh. Grisham eighth. Shift then recovered pretty well then, considering the incident she had with Pepper. She's up to P9. We've got then Charlie Martin, who's going to get another top 10 here. Again, another guest driver. Superb stuff from her. We've got Agrin. And then we've got Belen Garcia. Sidorkova has had a very indifferent week today, and she showed so much promise at the start of this esports series, and I think just, I don't know, run out of steam maybe a little bit in terms of trying to stitch together a 10-week championship, Billy?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we saw a few mistakes in her driving, despite her rapid pace at the start of the campaign. She probably should have been closer to Visser in the earlier stages than she was, because she sometimes wouldn't deliver on her absolutely incredible pace that she had. And I think maybe getting a bit disheartened, seeing that gap to Visser open up. Obviously, things in the real world starting to come back into play. And like I said earlier about how much practice really makes a difference in terms of how they perform. Maybe she was one of the few that decided to sort of rein back the amount of hours she was putting in and sort of go into other areas of herself as a driver. Maybe there's lots of different reasons why she could have fallen back, but the reality of it is she's, over the last few rounds, been a little bit disappointing. She hasn't had the pace that she had at the start of the year. And that's a credit not only to the other drivers that she's competing with that keep her on her toes, but also the fact that at a high level she set at the start of the campaign.
Absolutely, she is going to be an absolute superstar in the future, I can assure you of that. But it's all about the here and now, right now, as Bajska rounds the final couple of corners. Not only is she going to take her second victory here at the Nordschleifer in round 9 of the W Series Esports League, but she is officially going to be our first ever champion. It's Bajska who crosses the line. She takes the win and the championship. Marta Garcia fought valiantly for every single second she could, but she just could not climb that mountain of Bajska. And well, you can see there, I think she wants to do some donuts, but she's going the opposite way around now. She's just been tagged there by Wood, and while she can't do donuts while she's on that position of the car, but she's not going to care too much. It is Bajska who's our champion, Billy, and what a performance it's been over these first 9 rounds.
Yeah, she's dominated at the start. She had a few rounds towards sort of from round 5 onwards where she didn't quite have the pace of Marta Garcia, but she didn't let it phase her as well. I think that's important to make clear, that Marta Garcia was just exceptional in those races, and she was there finishing second pretty much every race, picking up the points that she already had that massive margin. She's controlled the gap, she's driven like a champion, and she finally is the champion.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Race 3 over here at the Nordschleifer. And well, the day, the season, everything belongs to Queen Bee. Bajska is a champion. Visser does take the lead on this race. It's the second race victory of the day then for Visser. Here at Kota, it's all about Visser showing the dominance, takes the victory for Brands Hatch. Side-by-side action then between the Dutch and the Spanish drivers. Oh, Visser's gone! Championship leader's gone! Got ahead into P1, never look back, and will take race number 1 here. It's the second race victory of the day then for Visser. The victory will go to Bajska at Watkins Glen. Incredible to see the talent coursing through that woman's lane. Visser is crossing the line. She will take victory here. No way round the outside! No way round the outside! Yes way! Around the outside! Unbelievable move here. Move of the Esports Series for sure. She's actually kicking the door down here. Beautiful bit of work there. Unbelievable action. Bajska then is going to take the victory. Our first ever champion is Bajska.
Oh, Bajska, congratulations. From day one, you really were the benchmark for this series, but now You've won it, still with one weekend in hand. That must feel great.
Yeah, I obviously knew the point standing before this race, so I knew I had a chance to win it, and yeah, I'm very happy that I managed to do it.
You started so strongly, but then first it was Irina Sidorkova who was challenging, and then Marta Garcia was challenging, but you kept your composure throughout. It didn't seem to matter which racetrack you were on. They all seemed to suit you, and you always managed to get those fastest laps.
Yeah, I've been putting a lot of practice in it, and yeah, I'm feeling quite comfortable on the sim now. So yeah, every track we went to, my goal was obviously to win. Yeah, and most tracks I've managed to do that.
So what do you do now? Do you just take the next week off, relax, or I think I already know the answer. You're going to go flat out and try and win the final 3 races of the W Series Esports League next week at Silverstone?
I am not actually sure if I'm able to join the race next week.
Ah, well, it's a good job you won it tonight.
Yeah, yeah, I had to do it.
Oh, well, listen, congratulations. I'm so pleased for you. You've been so entertaining. Really well done.
Thank you.
So there it is, confirmation that Bajtska Visser is the inaugural W Series Esports League champion. Marta Garcia, well, she gave her all in that final race, didn't she? She is second, Irina Sidorkova in third, and the best of the top 3, outside the top 3, I should say, is Nerea Marti. But you can still see pretty tight there, and there will be a lot of drivers hoping to move up that leaderboard when we get to our final round at Silverstone next week. But Billy, we have been talking about her since the off. Bajtska Visser, it has just been phenomenal, really. Doesn't matter what track we're at, whether it's a reverse grid, a normal qualifying, she's been there, she's been fastest lap, she's our champion.
Yeah, she's been fast, she's been consistent, she's been aggressive when she needs to be, especially in race 2s across the league so far. She really has been sort of the standout when it comes to making her way through the pack. Today she finished 3rd from the back of the grid. Such a tricky circuit. She's got so much to her game and her overall package as a professional racing driver, and she's demonstrating it time and time again on circuit of how good she is and how much skill she's learned in all the different areas, and she's pieced it together, and she's a well-deserved champion.
Yeah, she is the benchmark. Look, she was from day one.
Yeah, absolutely. At one stage, though, Marta became the benchmark, and that's the sign of a champion, because Bajtska was able to find another gear, pardon the pun, but she was able to find that extra gear and, again, assert a dominance over the championship. So she has had her trials and tribulations, but it's not because of her being slow. It's because of other people reaching her level, but she's just gone on again. And it's all about Bajtska Visser today. She is the champion. It's kind of, we knew it was happening pretty early in this championship that it was going to be the case, but yeah, fair play to her.
Absolutely. Every driver wants to win a title before the end of the season, and that's exactly what Bajtska has done, because do not forget to watch next week. We have our final W Series Esports League race of the year, and it is at Silverstone, so you certainly do not want to miss that. But as Luke and Billy have said, tonight very much belongs to Bajtska Visser.